This is the BMW R9T Scrambler, a bike I've been very eager to try out ever since the old man first rode one about 3 years ago now, and we haven't rode one since. So I think it's an appropriate time to give it a go, seeing as they are discontinuing the R9T and they're bringing out the R12 nineT. So could this be the perfect time to buy one of these bikes? This video has been made possible by the kindness of Sycamore Motorrad in Peterborough. They have pulled out all the stops to get me insured on pretty much all the BMW lineup. So you can expect to see plenty more BMW videos and reviews. And if you're looking at buying one of these bikes or any other BMW or second-hand motorcycle, then do give Sycamore Motorrad a shout. They can deliver nationwide, and if you do mention that we sent you, then you might well be able to get a good deal on your bike. So give them a shout. The R9T is certainly a good looking bike. I think the Scrambler is probably the best looking of the bunch because I love this brown leather seat. It's absolutely beautiful, and this dark green matte colourway looks fantastic. As you get onto the bike, it does have plenty of character. The Boxer Twin is a lovely motor. It's a very smooth motor, but as you start it up, you get a lovely rock to the side, which is very characteristic of these engines. It's like a mini R18 engine, not quite as much character as the R18, or the look of the engine isn't quite as beautiful as the R18, but it's a nice mix between modern and retro. So this is a really well balanced motorcycle. As you set off, it is a wonderful bike to ride. It's very easy, the clutch is light, it's so smooth taking off, and it's got plenty of torque from the lowdown. So around the towns and in the countryside, doing some slow riding around these narrow lanes and also in the town, it is perfectly fine. It doesn't kick up a fuss, it will trundle along at low RPMs and it won't be choking or trying to go faster. And equally, when you get out on the open road and give it some, it's got plenty to give. So it's a very well-rounded motorcycle and it's perfect for everyday use. The handling is superb on this bike. It really does handle well, and it's probably one of the nicest handling bikes I've ridden. It is so confidence inspiring in the corners. You really feel like you can get down on it and have a lot of fun in the back roads. And the suspension is perfectly set up for the real world. Because this bike is the Scrambler version, I think perhaps it might be a bit softer than the other versions, and it's just right. I mean, I've been riding on the fens here in Peterborough near Home Woods, and the roads are very bumpy, and because the roads are laid on what used to be marshland and there's lots of peat underneath, which is very soft, the roads eventually start to sink and you get all these massive bumps in the road, and it soaks them up very well. So comparing it to the R18 that I just came off this morning, this bike is much more usable in the everyday world. So absolutely fantastic. You've got double disc brakes on the front and a single on the rear. The stopping power is superb. The 1170cc Boxer engine in this bike produces 109 horsepower at 7,250 RPMs and 116 newton meters of torque at 6,000 RPM. So it's got plenty of torque and plenty of power. So this thing really does go. It likes to be higher up in the RPM range, so as you set off you do find it really wants you to rev it off the mark, but saying that, it is very comfortable at low RPM, so no issues there. With the new R12 nineT that's coming out, we don't have any technical specs as of yet, but having a chat with the sales manager at Sycamore Motorrad, he thinks that it will just be cosmetic changes and nothing really any different in terms of power and engine figures. So that's why I think perhaps it could be the right time to buy one of these bikes, as they are being discontinued before the new one comes out, and I expect the new one will come with a more expensive price tag. Got a 17-litre fuel tank, which is pretty big, and it's a good looking tank. It's a nice shape and it fits nicely with your knees in this shape here. The BMW claim that it will do about 55 miles per gallon, that's UK gallons, so you'll get good mileage out of this bike. The seat height is pretty high, it's 820 millimeters, and this is what I look like on the bike. So it's a plenty roomy bike for someone of 6'1". If you're a bit shorter, you should be fine on this bike. It's almost a stretch for me, not really, I'm still flat footing it, but my legs are pretty much fully stretched. So if you're a bit shorter, you might be on your tiptoes, but you shouldn't have any issues. So it's a pretty comfortable bike to ride. The seat hasn't got a lot of padding in it. It is a very good looking seat. It's almost a bench seat, but it steps up slightly. So it's a really nice riding position. I probably wouldn't want to go too far on this seat, as it's not the most padded seat in the world. But if you're doing longer journeys, there are options to change the seat for something more comfortable. You can also take a pillion on the back. I haven't got a pillion with me today, so unfortunately I can't report on what that is like. The gearbox is lovely and smooth. Got 6-speed gearbox, fantastic. It is precision German engineering, that's true, but this bike does have plenty of character as well. You've got cruise control on the left hand side, you've also got heated grips, and there's 3 rider modes, which are road, rain and dirt. So you can do off-roading on this bike. The tyres that it comes with are very much road biased tyres. So if you're doing more off-roading, I'd get some more knobbly tyres on there. But this bike is more of a road bike with Scrambler styling elements. I probably wouldn't call it a bike that is a good choice for green laning, for example. It probably could do some light off-roading, but I would leave it at that. The speedometer, the dials or the clocks are beautiful. A very nice heritage styling clock. Very beautiful, analog, and you've got a tiny little screen there which tells you everything you need to know. So I'm a big fan of that. The indicator switch on these BMWs, same on the R18, it doesn't have a lot of movement in it. So when you've got your gloves on, sometimes I'm like, have I pressed that in? You have to keep looking down to see if you're indicating. So that, I think, could have a little bit of a longer switch, just so you really know that you're indicating. But other than that, no problems there. I also forgot to mention that the tyres are tubeless tyres. You've got spoked wheels, but they're tubeless. So they've kept that heritage style, but managed to fit in tubeless tyres as well, which is fantastic. The exhaust on this bike is actually made by a Krapovic. However, it's not a throaty sounding exhaust because it's a standard exhaust, although made by a Krapovic. So it's had to meet the regulations, which means it doesn't have too much sound to it. It is a lovely sounding bike, and I would change the exhaust, perhaps the end can, to something a little bit more free flowing. But you can see underneath the bike that there's a lot of silencing going on, but in a way that keeps it not looking cluttered or with big massive mufflers. So there's a centre pipe in the middle there with a little bit of muffling there, and there's also it comes round the back of the engine and it meets in the middle, and then it comes through and out that side. So you've got a silencer just underneath where the suspension is at the back of the engine, and then another obviously end can silencer there. So it's got plenty of silencing in it, but they've done it in a way to keep the exhaust looking very nice and hiding the big muffler parts. So A beautiful looking exhaust, but I would prefer a little bit more sound, but what can you do? Regulations mean it's not possible anymore. The mirrors are very good. You can see most of the road behind you, and when you're sat on the bike, you've got a lovely minimal view and a clear view of the road ahead. The bars are a beautiful shape and very minimalistic. The analog dial, as I said, is a work of art, and it's just a lovely place to be sat. It's a beautiful looking machine from front to back. There's not much on this bike that you would want to change. It really is stunning. And it is a fantastic all-round machine. It's very stable at motorway speeds. It's very nimble in the corners. The suspension is perfectly set up for the real world and bumpy roads that we have in this country. So as an all-round motorbike, it really is a great machine, and it starts from £12,350 in the UK. So a lot of bike for your money, and definitely a good time to buy one before they discontinue them. It'd be interesting to see what the R12 nineT brings to the table, how much different it is to this bike, whether it is just cosmetics or whether they do uprate the engine and give it more power, more speed. We'll see. And what will the price be? Who knows? So give us your guesses in the comments below, and tell us what you think of this beautiful machine.